Good morning, Africa and the world. Today is the 31st of July in the year 2022, and it is another day and another time on our program, Sunday Morning with Emmanuel Mensah. It is your divine right to know the truth, to set yourself free. Today, I'm going to speak to you on the topic Infinite intelligence is the source of power to be and to do. I repeat, infinite intelligence is the source of power to be and to do. There is a universal intelligence upon which every man or woman and all things draw our intelligence from. And this is the source of power that we can draw upon to do things and to create wonders. And this infinite intelligence is the source of all creative powers, all creativity. And so today, I am going to speak to you on this power, how we can access it and use it for the betterment of our lives. Every human being is an individualization of God. And that is why the Bible says we are created in the images and the likenesses of God. And as an individualization of God, you are a unique individual. There is no carbon copy of you, and there will never be a carbon copy of you. You are unique. Your identity is unique. Your body will go away. You would leave this earth plane, but you as an individual, as a spiritual being, you will never die, and you will never be born, or you were never born. You are eternal. And so when we take upon this physical apparatus that we call our body, we still have our individuality, and we operate with our non-physical, which is our spiritual nature, and with our personalities. And so, as I'm speaking to you right now, I'm speaking to your personality and at the same time your spiritual power. But I don't see your spiritual aspect. You also don't see my spiritual aspect. But we speak to our personalities. And as we are on earth here, we are supposed to act as outlets through which the universal intelligence creates and bring wonderful and great things into the world. And the way we do this is to align ourselves with this universal intelligence and allow it to flow through us. We do not ask for it. We do not beg for it, and we do not have to buy it. It is our divine right, and it's by our nature that so long as we allow ourselves for this intelligence to pass through us ideas and all things that we need in our life, solutions to all problems, begins to run through us. And by our actions, all these things are brought into the world as physical things or real situations. So you are a human being, a God in a body, and you are here for the purpose of God. And so our life, when we look into our lives and we see the differences in development, differences in advancement, then all that we have to come to terms with is that it is the differences in our ability to access or to align ourselves to this universal intelligence or infinite intelligence that is causing all these things. God created all human beings, and God never gave any human being something different from a mind. All human beings have minds, and we have brains. Everything that makes a human being, we all have it. The only difference could be maybe the size or the yeah, the way it looks. But the fact is that every human being has all the vital parts. And so it is with our minds and our brains. And it is our responsibility to figure out how to do this and to use our minds and our brains to connect to our parent spirit, our Father, or infinite intelligence, for Him to work through us, to bring good ideas, to bring wonderful and great things into the world. And so, you are here to create. You are here to do great things. And it is only by using your creative faculties. And that is by allowing infinite intelligence to drop ideas and all the things that you need on earth here into your mind, that it comes into the world through you. So you will see that all the things that mankind has seen and we are here to see came to men and women that never even had educational backgrounds or didn't actually go to school. But by depending on this creative part of ours and aligning themselves with the universals or the infinite intelligence, this intelligence quickens their minds and their brains, and all that came to them, they follow it to the latter, and eventually they save men and women from all kinds of difficulties and problems. But unfortunately, we normally base our life as it is now, particularly those of us that we are in the third world countries, Africa, which is my focus. We depend or we see the Renaissance education as the source of power. That if you have the education, you can do all things. You have all things. But that is not the truth. This formal education that we have today in all societies is the source of our powerlessness, because it has been used. It is actually brought to quicken us to combine it with our intelligence to do great things. But unfortunately, we have focused our minds on only the intellectual aspect of it, and therefore we are negating the intelligence, where creativity, where ideas and all the things come from. We are actually cutting ourselves off this intelligence. And therefore, what we have is people struggling, people doing all things to make things work, but it is not working. And what it causes strife, apprehension, and all these kind of situations that it shouldn't have happened. Mankind is not brought here, it's not brought onto this earth to work alone, but we are supposed to work in partnership with the creative intelligence, the universal intelligence, infinite intelligence, such that whatever we'll be doing will come direct from God through us. And that is why the Bible says that we are the temple of God. God lives in us. And if God lives in us, God will also work through us. That is the fact. I live in my house. I'm in my house now, and I'm speaking to you through my house, not in any other person's house. And that is also how it is with us and God, the universal spirit or infinite intelligence. So if you want power, if you want to be successful, then you have to be awakened to the truth that the formal education, the qualifications and all this that we acquired, you're just like tools. You can have a gun, you can have all these things, but these things doesn't operate themselves. They need an intelligence to operate them. And it is only when you as a human being, you take the gun, you being intelligent, you know that you have to load it with bullets. You know how to pull the trigger. You know how to pinpoint the gun such that whatever you are aiming, your target will be hit. And so you are an intelligent being working using this tool. And so it is with us and infinite intelligence. infinite intelligence is a creator, is a creator, and is always creating, but he must work through us. And therefore, we must allow ourselves, just as your gun or your car allows itself, it avails itself for you to operate it to the extent that you want, or whatever you want it to do for you. And so, you are here to act as an outlet and also to act as a co-creator with God, such that whatever thing that mankind needs will come through you. Every one of us has an answer or a solution to a human problem, but we can only work this out. This can only be possible only when we connect ourselves with the infinite intelligence, the creative intelligence of God, and allow this creativity to flow through us. When you get to this point, education or no education, you will do great things. And that is why I say the power to be and to do. When you read at this point that you are continually connected with the source of all things, the source of creativity, all ideas, everything runs through you. And for that matter, for you, your reality is that all things are possible. And that is how all men have done. Men and women that we call them great. They started with an idea that men and women didn't understand. They didn't understand them. They couldn't actually accept the fact that someone would get up and say, this is what I want to do, when they don't really actually see it. Everyone knows that you have to do your job, you have to do this and that and that and that to get whatever you want. And you want to create something that you are saying it is coming to do this and that. My friend, better get something to do and let us have our peace. And that is how they rubbish them. They didn't actually consider them to be serious. But with their persistence and the understanding of the truth that they are working with a universal intelligence, they are working with a universal creative force who has all the ideas, everything came, all pieces were put together, and before the eyes of men and women that were initially ridiculing them and disrespecting them, they came to sing their praises. And so a human being is not here to live on his intellect alone. We are not here to live on intellect alone. Intellect will tell you you need bread. You need this and that and that and that. But there is more higher, a higher power, a higher source, which will equip you with all that you need, all that you have, such that the bread and the clothing that you need will no longer be an issue because you've achieved something higher. And that is what we need to pay our attention to. And so today, I am going to invoke the words of my mentor, Ralph Waldo Emerson, on this topic. And it is a paragraph. I'm going to read this paragraph. There are a lot of wisdom in this. And it is my prayer that you will understand and you pay attention to this and begin to walk in the direction that ideas and all that you want to give to the world will begin to pop out of your mind, just like the way a toast pop out of a toaster. And that is when we say we are using our creative faculties. We are in tune, we are in alignment with the infinite intelligence who is the source of all creativity. So according to Emerson, I quote, "It is a secret which every intellectual man quickly learns, that beyond the energy of his possessed and conscious intellect, he is capable of a new energy," in quote, "as of an intellect double on itself by abandonment to the nature of things, that besides his privacy of power as an individual man, there is a great public power on which he can draw by unlocking at all risk his human does, and suffering the ethereal tides of roll and circulate through him, then is he caught up into the life of the universe. His speech is thunder, his thought is law, and his words are universally intelligible, as the plants and animals. That is the words of Emerson. And there are a few things that I would like to pick from here. And that is the first line, that it is a secret which every intellectual man quickly learns. Every man, any man that has actually used his mind and he has been awakened to the truth of life, he learns that by depending on only his intellect, he will not be able to achieve anything. And the only thing that he can do is to become aware, to become conscious of the fact that there is a greater power. There is a greater power that he can connect to, or there is a greater energy, which is more of a double of the intellect that you possess itself. And when you connect with this power, and you allow the power to use you, to take you through all corners and other things, you will see that eventually you become a powerful person, such that your speech becomes a thunder. When you speak, men begins to clap for you. When you think, laws comes, or it becomes laws, and your words are universally intelligible as the plants and animals. And so that is creativity. And so any man or woman that consider himself intellectual, he calls himself an intellectual, that is not in alignment with his own forces, the power that is with us, with all of us, then that is around us, that is infinite intelligence, and always allow and receive ideas from infinite intelligence. That person only walks on this earth and is unable to do anything. The only thing that person is able to do is to read and write, analyze. He cannot create anything. And unfortunately, that is the bulk, that is the greater percentage of humanity. And if I'm to come down to our focus, Africa is the greatest example of what we are talking of. The creativity of God, as I said in my previous episode, is the creativity of mankind. And the creativity of mankind is the creativity of God, because we are working as co-workers, and God is continually flowing through you, in and out of you. And therefore, what God is, you can never be different from that. And what is coming out of you can never be different from what is in God. And therefore, we only have to come to this understanding and begin to control our minds, begin to control our mental states, in such that we are always in alignment with this universal force, this universal presence, intelligent, infinite intelligence, such that ideas and all inventions will begin to come to us. And as we work upon them, we begin to get solutions to our problems. That is the truth of life. And so, this is the time of awakening, and this is the time of we becoming knowledgeable, having the understanding of how life is supposed to be lived, and going the extra length to live by these principles and truths. You are a creator. And my focus here is to rekindle your creative powers, is to energize you to rekindle your creative powers. You have it. No man or woman is to pay a school fees to get creativity. No, that is never true. And if any man or woman tells another person that he hasn't got creativity, that person is actually speaking out of ignorance. Every human being has creativity. As long as your mind is continually linked with the universal mind, which is infinite intelligence, creativity comes. And as a matter of fact, if we look into the world, the people that has given us great things, most of them even had some what we call disability or handicaps. But upon all this, you see that these people did extraordinary things. They did extraordinary things. And so it is with you. At the moment, your life as an African looks impoverished, looks so dilapidated, looks so poor, wretched, because you are disconnected from the overall creative intelligence or infinite intelligence, where ideas and all the things that you need will come from. And this is the time that you have to rise up. We have to begin to walk in the right direction. And that is, we controlling our mind. The human mind is the link between the outer world and the unseen world. Your mind is a creative medium. Your mind is a creative medium through which God does his creation. Ideas, dreams, and visions will come to you if your mind is at its right state. It's in its right state. And it is in alignment with the laws of the universe and the laws of God. So Africa, we need development. I intentionally repeat this subject because it's similar to what I gave on Friday. But this is a very important aspect of our life that we have to begin to talk about, but not in any form of vindictiveness, in any form of arrogance, but in light of universal truth and wisdom. Every human being has the ability to create because we are the images and the likenesses of God. The ideas, the inventions, everything that comes into the world are the work of God or the works of God through men. And therefore, we need to desire. We need to desire. And what triggers our desire? What triggers our desire for something in this world as a human being? What actually triggers you for you to look for food to eat? Hunger. Any man or woman that is not hungry does not need food. If you are not hungry, you are satisfied. You don't need food. But as soon as hunger begins to knock your door, then you will say that, okay, I need to go to the kitchen and prepare my food. Any man that is healthy does not need food. That does not need medicine because he is healthy. But as soon as a sickness hits you, then you begin to look for medicine or solutions to that. And so it is in our lives. And therefore, this situation is the same as your problem. Whatever situation you find yourself in, the problem is to awaken you to the truth that you need to take an action to satisfy a certain demand of yours. That is a fact. Just as hunger is a message to you that you need to take action to satisfy your own self. So when there is a situation, when there is a challenge, it is a call from the universe for us to align our minds with infinite intelligence. And as we align our minds with infinite intelligence, the ideas comes to us, and it is our responsibility to begin to take the ideas and then work them out and let them be a reality. Whatever step, whatever thing that you need to do, so long as you are in that frame of mind and you are working on it in faith and determination, the power that has given you that idea will supply you all that you need to make it a reality. That is the truth of life. So Africa, as I have always been saying, we will never be liberated from any of our difficulties by any men and women that we call superpowers or highly intellectual, that we know that they can solve our problem. It can never be done. But until we rise up, until we begin to take this truth and know that we are connected with a universal energy. There is an energy that is in and around us that is greater than our intellect. Then aligning our intellect and our everything with this energy, such that the energy drops ideas as answers to our problems to us. And then we begin to work on them. We begin to work on them. And this same power will lead us to bring this to a perfection such that it wipes out the problems in the same way as your food wipes out your hunger. So everything that we see on our continent, they are opportunities. They are opportunities, whether you like it or not. That is the truth. But they become real opportunity only when we begin to exercise our creative powers. And how do we exercise our creative powers? That is by aligning our minds. That is weeding all negative thoughts, and allowing our minds to dwell only on the positive and constructive thoughts, and then allow God to work through us. As it is, the minds of Africans are filled with silt, just like the tap you have in your home. When it is filled with silt, the water will not come out. The water is blocked. Everything that we need, all solutions that we need to our problems, our situations, are already in the spiritual world, and they are waiting to come out. But we have blocked our mental channel through which our answers, our ideas will come to us with silt, mental silt, which is negativity and all sorts. And this is the time that we have to become conscious of this truth that we are creators and we are co-creators with a higher power. And therefore, we need to clear all our minds. We need to make our minds we need to put our mind in their right state, such that all the things that are waiting for us in the spiritual world will come out of us. And that is when Africa becomes a developed nation, a continent. Africa becomes a developed continent. African nations, countries begin to become developed countries. This is the truth of life. There is no any other way. There is no any other explanation to this. And so Africans, we look impoverished. We are called underdeveloped because we are not in alignment. We've been cut off, or we've cut ourselves off the creative intelligence, universal creative intelligence, or infinite intelligence. This is the time we have to make conscious effort to align ourselves. And that is embracing the principle of positivity, thinking in the positive, and looking at things from the highest point of view, and believing in ourselves that we are here to make a mark. We are here to leave a mark. We are here to make a difference. And we are gods, creating and making God's work and moving humanity and the whole universe forward. That is deliberate creation. That is deliberate creation. We have to create it deliberately. And everything begins from a problem. Everything begins from a problem. As someone who has a background of project management, every project begins with what? A problem. There is something. And then the problem, it is put in a higher level. And then we begin something like idea creation. When you know the problem, you begin to work on it, and then you gather your ideas, then you begin to you keep on, and the project keeps expanding. It keeps expanding until the point that you actually come out with a concrete solution to that initial problem that brought about all these things that you have been working on as a team. And so it is with our life. Development must always be preceded by underdevelopment. But when you are in the underdevelopment stage and you only sit down and wail, you only sit down and cry, you only show powerlessness, then you will never go through. You are going to create more underdevelopment. But when you begin with the right mindset and with the understanding that you are here to create and you are here to move yourself and humanity forward, you take the right steps and align yourself with the universal intelligence, and ideas come to you. And when you get the ideas and you work on them, it becomes a reality, and they save you and save all men and women around you. This is the truth of life, and this is what we need to embrace, my fellow Africans. You are a creative being. You have powers. The only thing that is making you to be powerless is that you do not know how to access them. Our own beliefs, and traditions and way of life has blocked the African from receiving ideas. I sit down and sometimes I think about things. I look at people over here. And when I look at things that people have done with their minds, most of them, you say that yes, this is actually men and women that God has worked through them. And I am someone who follows sports. And I really like, when I came to Canada, the sports that I developed more interest in is hockey. And I always enjoy watching hockey. And I look at this thing, people who gather themselves on ice, and the tool they use to do this is just a stick and a blade. They stand on a blade as the boots. Then they slide on this. But when you sit down and think of this is creativity at its highest level. What even came upon someone to think of doing this? But they have done it. And men and women stand on these skates and they do amazing things. Creativity at its highest level with this stick and the puck, or whatever they call it. It's not even a ball. They do amazing things. And this thing has grown to become a sport that men and women are making millions of it. The nations is reaping millions out of it. People have allowed themselves, they've aligned themselves with the creative intelligence, infinite intelligence. And infinite intelligence has dropped into their minds that when you put a blade on ice and you do this and that, you can do this, you can create this sport. And they've done it. And as a matter of fact, there are a lot of things that they do on this ice with these skates that are so beautiful. Another area is skating. When these ladies stand on the ice with this skating and they do this ice skating, it's so beautiful. But someone sat down. He didn't consider, he didn't worry himself with there's risk in it. But he knew that as he keep on doing this and doing that, creativity will come. And out of creativity, they have developed something that now they have even safety things that they used to protect themselves. A lot of things. I can give you examples. Water sports. All these things, men and women sat down and used their minds. These things were not done by academicians. No, they were not done by academicians. They were done by ordinary men and women. And that is why for me, my focus is on the individual African. When you are able to liberate men and women individually, you've liberated a community, you've liberated a nation. For a nation is a collection of the people, but not just a certain container without people. And so if you want development, if we want development in Africa, then this is the time that we have to focus all our attention and energy on the individual, not from the academic perspective necessarily, but from the use of the creative faculties and how to align our minds with the creative intelligence, the universal intelligence, infinite intelligence, such that ideas comes to us and we will be able to receive them and take them and use them as solutions to our problems. Every day, every now and then, there are ideas that comes to, but we block them. They come to us. They are ready to come through us, but we are blocking them. And this is the time the African has to wake up. Intellectuality is good. I am not anti-intellectual gaining education or whatever, but the point I am putting across is that it has its place in our lives. It cannot bring about development. It cannot bring about development. But the use of the human creative faculty by every man or woman, educated or not educated, will bring development, such that there will be a uniform development, such that the villager will be able to sit down and get an idea, receive an idea, and begin to work on it. And at a point that he needs the intellectuals, he brings the intellectuals in and they support him to create the idea and make it a reality. But when we depend on only the intellectual aspect and then we negate people that have not been able to acquire these intellectual capabilities, and then we do not even regard them in any way, then we are blocking our own good. Those people are those that actually have the ability to connect with infinite intelligence because they don't do analysis. What I'm telling you, majority of the academicians will rubbish this. And that is why when you go to the universities and all the learning centers, that is where poverty at its highest level is shown. Because they do not have faith. They don't believe in things. But creativity, but development comes with people who have faith. And ready to take action. They are not afraid of failure. They are ready to take risk at any level. But the intellectuals who go, okay, let's do the risk analysis, let's do this and that, and they sit and theorize, and nothing is done. And so what I'm saying is that there are more inventions in the minds of the African people. There are more ideas in the minds of the African people, particularly those that are the unschooled. And this is the time that we need to expose them to the universal truth, such that they will have the ability, they will have the confidence to create from whatever they are receiving. The one who is farming is the only person that can create implement to solve his problems because he is at the center of the problem. The one in the city only reading and theorizing about the farmer's problem cannot give him any implement to solve his problem. That is a fact. The fisherman is the only one that can develop a solution to his problem because he is going through it. But if we are until we are able to channel their energies and show them how to open their minds, and align it with the universal source, such that they will get ideas and begin to work on it, all these things will continue to remain in the unseen world. And when it comes that way, Africans, we are denying ourselves from the good of God. God has already blessed us, just as he has blessed all other men. Some people have snow. They have used this snow out of their creative intelligence, their creativity. They have created a sport. And as Marcus Garvey, I stated Marcus Garvey's words the other day, that God and nature has made us what we are. And out of our creative genius, we make ourselves what we want to be. God and nature brought the Canadians, the Americans to where they are. And out of their creative intelligence, they've created hockey. They've created ice skating, ice hockey and ice skating. And they are making good of it. Now it has become something that it attracts all of us. God and nature have a reason why we are placed on the African continent. We have all things, we have things peculiar to ourselves, but we see them as problems, and therefore we do not even interact with them with our creativity. So the African only sit down and look at it and that and that. The other day I was looking at a film and they showed the desert, and the desert was full of sand. And what dropped into my mind is, this is what we normally have like snow. As a matter of fact, the desert that we have in the Sahara is lying there. And one day, the white man will go there and create a sport and create something. And then when they do that, that is when Africans will turn around and say that, they've come to take our land, they've come to take our desert. But as it is now, the African is afraid, is paralyzed with the desert. We are not thinking about how to make good use of it. We are already in it. Whether we like it or not. That is where we find ourselves. But how can we get a good out of this? These are the people that uses their minds. The academicians will go and measure the temperature. They will go and do this and that and that and that and that and declare the place no-go area and say, we don't go. But people have to use their mind and begin to think. There is a sport that can be created which will be similar to skiing as we have here on the desert, the way the sand is. And as a matter of fact, if the Westerners were to find themselves in the desert, they could have, by this time, I'm sure someone would have done something like that, created resort and all these things on the desert, such that it becomes something beautiful. And men and women would travel all over the world to come and watch it. But Africans are paralyzed because we are not using our creativity. We don't know how to align our minds. We don't know how to align ourselves with the universal intelligence, infinite intelligence, such that ideas and all these creative things will come through us. The Africans lack the understanding that he's here to work as a partner with God. And this is the time that we have to be awakened to this truth. So the purpose of this eagle mentality, the purpose of eagle mentality is to awaken every one of us, to this truth that you are here to create. You are here to make yourself a better person, to make your environment a better place, to make yourself a beautiful and a wonderful one, and to make your environment a beautiful and wonderful one. So Africa will never develop. Africa will never be tiled with pavement and all these things as it is in Europe until the men and women individually begins to have the confidence and the ability that they are here to make a difference, and therefore wherever they are, whatever they have, they will make it and improve upon it, and such that it becomes something beautiful that it actually satisfies their soul. And when the soul is satisfied, it means a prayer answered. And when a prayer is answered, the whole world will buy into whatever that has come out of the African. So this is the day, this is the time, this is the hour that we have to begin to look at our situation from a different angle. And the angle is what I'm presenting to you. That is the universal truth. Enough is enough. The academics and whatever, you have Africans wasting their monies on doing professional courses, doing PhD courses. At the end of the day, all these men and women are working on the African continent such that they are unable to do anything. As a matter of fact, we even have some of the PhD holders that have not even been able to write a common small book of a 30-page. But they call themselves academicians, PhD holders. I am not against this, but I'm telling you that until we begin to learn the lesson which Emerson spoke of, that every intellectual begins to learn, that beyond the energy of his possessed and conscious intellect, he is capable of a new energy. There is a new energy. There is an energy around every one of us, such that when we become awakened to this energy, our intellectuals will create, the unintellectual will create, such that every problem will get a solution. Every problem will get a solution. That Africa begins to evolve. Africa begins to evolve. And as we evolve from underdevelopment to developed nation, developed continent. Money and all these programs and other things that our leaders are going up and down and taking that they're coming to solve our problem will never solve the problem. And that is why I've always been saying that our leaders don't have a clue. They don't have a solution to any of our problems. You, the commoner, you, the ordinary man or woman, has the solution to the problem because the nation is you. And this is the time that we have to rise up. When we create, we do all these things, we will be able to demonstrate, we'll be able to showcase all these things to the world that, hey, this is how we have solved our problem. And this is how we are using it. Then we sell it to the world will take it. Then it becomes give and take. That is the truth of life. So my brother, my sister, my fellow Africans, particularly those of us on the African continent, this is the time that we have to begin. We have to become awakened to this perspective of life. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. We have pursued all these academic qualifications and other things. They haven't given us anything except educational derelicts. Yes, now is the time to turn the tide or the clock and begin to look at it from the higher intelligence perspective. And all our educated derelicts will become educated that has the ability to change and make things work. All our uneducated ones too will have the ability and the capability to create and say, yes, this is my own effort through the power of God that is working through me. This is my signature. We will have Africans' names on their own inventions as we have in other places. We have African signatures on their own inventions. This will not happen except by aligning ourselves with the universal creative intelligence, who is infinite intelligence, who is God himself working through us. So, as I bring my message to an end, I would like to remind you once again and to invite you to, my fellow Africans, to be awakened to this truth. Look around your life. Look around you. Look through all the continent of Africa. What is coming out of Africa? What are we creating? It's because we are cut off. We are cut off. We are no more linked with the universal intelligence that gives ideas and inventions. And this is the time that the son and daughter of Africa, we begin to reconnect ourselves to our universal power, our God, who is our creator, and by the power of God running through all of us, ideas, inventions will begin to pop up on the African continent, just like the way the water pops out of the ground and to flood the ground, to become a lake. That is the truth of life. So that is my message for you. Now, may the overshadowing presence of God that keeps the stars from falling upon us and keeps the planets in their various orbits such that they do not clash with one another, keep you and lead you and guide you, such that this message will land on a fertile ground, that you begin to work on your mind. You will weed out all negativity and all negative impurities out of your mind, and such that we will create a new Africa that is developed, a new Africa that is highly technological, a new Africa that is in tune with the universal forces, and that we are all working in partnership with our Father to create a better world. Once again, my name is Emmanuel Kwejo Mensah. I am the co-founder of the Eagle Mentality Group. And at Eagle Mentality Group, our determination and drive is the teaching and propagation of the information about the power of the subconscious mind and universal laws and principles. It is our dream to raise a new group of Africans such that we begin to do things in alignment with the laws of the universe and our mind and our own beings, such that we create an Africa that is developed, an Africa that is multiracial, that we have all men and women on the African continent living side by side in peace and to the glory of God, and showing the glory of God in diversity. Thank you, and God bless you.